Hi, my name's Anthony Portelli, happily married, 5 children, got a master's degree from the University of Michigan in computer engineering. On May 7th, 2013, 75 agents raided 5 different locations and took over a semi-truckload of equipment from me. I was growing medical marijuana at a location, and another person was growing medical marijuana at another location. The location I was growing at, I was carded for 60 or 72 plants, and when these 75 agents came into my life, they busted through my front door of my house. They arrested me, my wife. They took all of my grow equipment out of the location that I had 68 plants, and I counted those plants every day. You know, the case went on for years and years. It's 2019 right now, and it finally is over. Michael Komorn was able to work with me over the 5 years that this case went on. And when we went through that, today was the day that I actually got all my equipment back. They dismissed my case over 2 weeks ago. And the other people that were associated to the case, one person's charges were dismissed. The other person didn't have enough money to fight the legal battle that I fought for 5 years, and he had to plead to a misdemeanor. But the process of going through this, you know, I am passionate about the plant, and being so passionate about the plant, I gave up my IBM career to work and start a hydroponics store that's called Grow Green. And I was growing medical grade cannabis and taking care of patients. And the police thought it was a big front, and they thought we were a dispensary and doing a bunch of illegal activities. And they had no proof for any of that. So when these 75 agents came raiding my house, they literally were shocked that there wasn't enough really worth the DEA to mess with. So they literally had over 200 items. They had so many hours in investigative work to find out that they weren't even really finding what they were looking for. The charges took over 9 months for them to post to me. They took my money. They took all of my equipment. They took all of my family jewelry. You know, and I don't blame the cops for being bad people. They're instructed by other authorities, and they're there to police society. So as society has this dark belief that cannabis and medical grade marijuana is bad for the community, you know, they're just doing their job. 2018, we passed legalization, so ironically, my case was dismissed, and the prosecutor's phrase is, "We no longer feel that it's worth the efforts to pursue, allocate the resources to pursue an investigation against you, and we're dismissing your charges and giving you all your stuff back." I just think to myself, I'm like, wow, so how do I get my 6 years of my life back? How do I get every week having to call every day of my life to call a number for 3 years? And all the money associated towards drug testing. I wasn't allowed to smoke medical grade cannabis, so I had to have my doctor prescribe me Percocet. So fortunately, I wasn't addicted to painkillers. But you know, just to see how the system grinds people and forces you out of it. You know, unless you have enough money to fight it, or you have an amazing attorney like Michael Komorn and the Komorn Law, like, you are literally going to have to take a misdemeanor or take some type of conviction just to make the pain and suffering go over. If you were to take a conviction, if I were to take a misdemeanor, which they offered me so many times over the course of 5 years, I wouldn't be entitled to keep any of my gear. You know, I think the whole battle of that day that it happened, and the whole process of which they grind you through the system, it was literally so disorganized. They're like, where's the warrant? Oh, we have a DEA warrant? Well, how did we get the warrant for the power bill? Oh, I don't know where that came from. We must have pulled a sheet of paper out of a drawer and like signed it to be able to get the power bills. Oh, we know when we pulled you over that your caregiver is Anthony Portelli and that he grows medical cannabis, and you've seen our cards, but you still are able to raid a location because you see the high usage of power bills? I mean, wow. So if you're allowed, you have a card, which I had 5 patients, including myself. I'm the 6th patient. I'm entitled to 72 plants. I'm entitled to 15 ounces, and I'm entitled to have a power bill to the moon, you know, because the state of Michigan gave me the right and these cards that I thought meant something. You know, when you go through this process and you watch how they actually pull it all together, you know, your family, I took criticism from my wife. I took that stood behind me after she understood what was really going on. But there's some family members that still to this day don't talk to me because they think I'm a drug dealer or I'm some bad person. And I just simply said, hey, the state of Michigan gave me these cards. I'm passionate about this plant. It's legal to have these cards. It's legal to grow cannabis. I mean, the ability to take care of your patients and to take care of people and for people to see the benefit of the plant, that what it can do to them and how it can heal them, it's really amazing. Now, going through this process, it was like 5 years of court battles. It was 6 years wondering if I'm going to jail for 15 years with 2 felony counts that they charged me with. I mean, like at some point, like I was just determined because I said to myself, I want to know if these cards mean anything. I want to know if this law that they passed is really legit. You know, the people from my church, they helped me to pray, go through this battle. My brother Knights from the Knights of Columbus, you know, encouraged me to keep the fight going on. And as I did that, I knew I was just determined to get to this day where either they were going to dismiss the charges and give me all my gear back, or we were going to go to a jury trial and I was going to get all my patients, including myself, and explain to these people what the benefit of that plant is. And after that jury verdict of innocent, I would get all my equipment back. And here I am, just blessed and happy that all this is going the right way. And finally, that the police are starting to believe that, you know, this plant isn't as bad. But again, the police is just instructed by society and their leaders. And as we vote as a community and how we've passed legalization in Michigan in 2018, you know, it's going to make that next generation. I have 5 children, and now my kids are going to be able to use medical grade cannabis for the use that they need to use it for and the benefits of that plant. You know, they won't have to go through this pain and suffering that I've had to go through for over 6 years now. You know, all the different battles and all the different motions that we went through. You know, Michael and me were literally standing in court. I was praying that the judge would understand what we were trying to convey. The prosecutor would just say time and time again, he would just not separate the facts, and they just had to keep you tied into the system. And they're just wearing you down. And literally, I was just so determined and just so blessed to go through that process. I think probably my favorite thing at the end of it was when they finally dismissed the charges. The judge knew that I was an engineer. He says, well, now that you're an engineer, you can get on with your life. He's like, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to dedicate my life to cannabis because I care about this plant so much, and I care about making the community educated and grow the community so that they all can see the benefits of the plants. So, you know, getting a whole semi-truck of equipment returned to me after 6 years, you know, as I talk about making the community bigger and better, you know, there's some people that come into our store and they're like, hey, what can we do to get going? And they don't understand how much money is associated to this. So, you know, as a personal person that owns that equipment, I'm going to be giving that equipment out to these new growers. I'm going to give everybody that wants a light. I'm going to still has the LawNet stickers on it. It's still going to have I'm going to sign every piece of the equipment and put a sticker on there so that they can have something in their grow room that represents all of the pain and suffering that we all in this community have gone through. There are so many cases that have gone to court to pave the way for legalization and the ability for these people that are trying to figure out how to grow. So for me to be able to give back to the community and just simply let people take it to the next level, you know, as you enlighten one person with that equipment, they're going to tell 5 people. And if they get 5 people involved in the community, this is just going to spread like wildfire. And it's just a beautiful thing. And I'm so blessed to be part of it. My case took place in 2013, and when I got raided and I was going through the process, my wife was very worried about what was going on that I talked about, and there was only one person that I could think of to call, and then that was Michael Komorn. We went to his office, and because there was other people that were being charged in the case, those people had to get different attorneys because Michael couldn't defend all of them. Michael works with a group of people, and he was quick to get 2 other rock star attorneys with us. So Michael took on my case. He's good friends with David Rudoy and Neil Rockheim. That took on as a legal defense. We were able to literally go into that court and battle it out to the end. You know, when you're going through this long battle and you're looking for somebody to have in your corner, you know, I would just joke because we would go week after week, and some days my Section 8 hearing was 10 days in a row. You know, Michael was able to shift his schedule. He was able to be there for me and make sure that all these silly motions and all this backroom drama that they do to weed you, wear you down and weed you out to make you take a plea. Michael just simply said, we're not doing that, you know, and we're gonna take this all the way to the end. You know, if you were to like go through the whole case and you were to like listen to how many different motions Michael filed, there was over 12 different motions, and you're sitting there, you're just thinking like, how could that, yeah, I guess I could see that motion. And at some point I thought maybe that was not a good idea to do that. And Michael said, you know, do you want to do this? And I said, well, if you think it's a good idea. And I didn't really get it, but as you're going through this battle, the whole goal of it to be able to win is to get them, those police officers and get those prosecutors locked into their story. Because once they get them on the stand, then you get the transcripts and you're locked into a story. I can't tell you how many times Michael was able to say, well, on this day you said this, but today you say this. And then when the police officer says, I want to refresh my memory, can I look at the police report? And then when Michael would say, well, you want to refresh your memory with the police report that has inaccuracies in there? So which part of are you going to refresh in that police report? Are you going to look at the police report to see that to refresh your memories of some lies that might be in there or some misstatements? Do you know what a fallible memory is? Can you remember what happened 5 years ago, or do you remember the incident? Well, there's a lot of things that took place. You know, and as I was listening to it, and then you read through those transcripts to get that information, you're just literally blown away at what they say and just the fact that they just don't want to be wrong. It was literally the prosecutor a few times literally had to stop Michael and stop the proceedings because Michael, the prosecutor thought Michael was going to try to have him, the police officers impeached. So, you know, it wasn't Michael's intent to have police officers impeached, but it's important just to have the police officers tell what the story really was. You know, how did you get the warrant? What information did you have? How did you add these things together in that quest of, you know, getting this, you know, where is that information, or how was it taken care of? You know, you didn't dry the marijuana, but you put the marijuana in a semi truck that was 85 degrees, and when other police officers went on the stand, well, we put it in there because the marijuana was wet and it needed to be dried or it would mold out and it wouldn't be good in court. So that means the marijuana wasn't usable. I mean, at some point, you know, going step by step by step and having such a game plan to fight a battle that's going to take place for this many years. You know, Michael would bring a whole just stack of papers. We literally, for this case that's gone on, what Judge Hattie said, this was his longest court case that was going on, and he just wanted to get it off his docket. You know, I mean, I'm glad it's off his docket, but I'm more happy that, you know, the outcome took place that it did, and I didn't have to settle for a misdemeanor or settle to just get curted through the system. You know, and when you are looking to be part of a community, Michael has been there where I've stood with him and many other people up in Lansing in 2010 at the state capitol steps. We've been to Hash Bash. We've been to so many different organizations. We've helped get Dana Nessel, you know, elected, and there's so many people that in the community that are so passionate. So I'm just blessed to have known Michael. I'm still definitely very part of Michael, and if anything, I wouldn't even call me as a client to Michael. Me and Michael are just really good friends now, and we still have a long-lasting relationship. So thank you so much. I really appreciate everything that you guys have done for me and done for the community to make me be able to be this happy and this blessed today. So my name is Anthony Portelli, happily married with 5 kids, got a master's degree in computer engineering. Today, I'm going to pick up my gear from my case that was dismissed by LawNet and the Livingston County court system. It's been a 6-year battle. I've had, when I got raided in 2013, I had 68 plants in my medical grow, and I was carded for 72 plants. But they still brought 75 DEA agents with the Michigan State Police and all the narcotics teams. We battled it out with Michael Komorn and all the other great attorneys that we had on the case. The case was dismissed by the prosecutor by him just simply saying it's not an effective use of our resources to pursue this case any further. So today we are going to fill this semi-truck up with all of the equipment that they have stolen from me for the last 6 years through forfeiture. I'm also getting my money back, but more importantly, it's a good win in the chapter column where we, as people moving this movement forward, have seriously put a dent into legalizing cannabis, and we're showing the court systems and law enforcement that medical marijuana has an appropriate use for the right people in our community. So I am super pumped to have this case dismissed after 5 years of my life and all the money that I fought through. I'm super happy to get all my belongings back that was wrongfully stolen from me by law enforcement, and today is going to complete this chapter for this saga. But I am dedicated to cannabis and making it even a better movement going forward. So looking forward to getting my gear back. Thank you so much, brother. Woo! All right, let's get the party started. Yeah, there's so many memories of this case that I have. I can tell you, I remember when we went into rain and turned ourselves in because they were pressing charges. The magistrate said we could smoke medical marijuana. It was signed order, and then Judge Reeder took the order, crossed that off, and said that she wasn't going to allow that in her court system. So I was not able to use my medical marijuana and have to take oxycodone for my pain and suffering. Fortunately, I didn't get addicted to that for 2 years. So, man.
Oh, that's crazy. What during the case when you're fighting, they wouldn't let you use anything?
No, I mean, yeah. So you have to, they almost want you to be on the opioids, you know? So I think, I don't know if maybe the police get money from that or why they would want to not allow you to have medical marijuana. I mean, it just seems like it's one thing if you weren't doing the right thing, but geez. And then the evidence that they had for the case came from one of a CI that they couldn't actually, that didn't even have actual facts. I mean, the case went on for years and years. It took us a year and a half just to get out of district court because there was over 50 different agents that had to be called to the stand because nobody actually knew the whole story. It's just amazing how much paperwork this case caused them, and I think the resources they put into this case. Can you imagine? And then the prosecutor at the end, he says, well, I don't think this is an effective use of our resources since cannabis is now legalized. So the last 6 years of fighting me has been effectively worth the fight, right? But now it's we're free to go. So either way, we're moving forward, and we're happy to go get all of our stuff. Happy to have such a great attorney to defend you all the way to the bitter end. So
always remember, look for the high road and enjoy life, because it's happening and you're breathing, so it's awesome.
All right.
Here we go, baby, picking it up. And then they didn't even want us to go to the law net area where they actually had the stuff stored. I mean, one of the officers brought a pack of paper, and that was that big, where they had to actually count all 200 of the items that they seized from me, and then literally find out that they have to inventory it. So they have to touch it 3 times a year, sign it out, make sure that the police didn't steal it from themselves, and all my stuff is still there. I mean, what an effective use of resources for our taxpayers. I mean, at some point, like, they could have just gave me my stuff back, and look at, now they are giving me my stuff back. So the net result was, wow, a lot of taxpayers just got a big bill. And this revenue enhancement team that I like to refer to LawNet as has literally not been able to generate the revenue that they're looking for, since they had to give this back, and now the forfeiture laws are changing. I mean, wow, they really are going to have to look for a new way to come up with money for their revenue enhancement teams for Livingston County and all the other narcotics teams that they have out there.
Yeah, they want to be busting as many people, so they won't need as big a budget. Hopefully.
Yeah, so it's hopefully they can focus on, you know, what Pinckney's known for as a heroin capital, and you know, we have a big heroin and overdose, but you know, I haven't heard too much on the medical marijuana front, but all of a sudden we have this epidemic that they can't focus on, probably because it doesn't generate any revenue for them. And you know, maybe those sick people that are stuck on heroin, that there's no revenue to get from them, so they really can't help them out too much. Yeah, it's the Hamburg Water Waste Treatment Plant. That's where we're going to pick up my stuff today.
Lovely.
I mean, geez, Neil Rockheim, David Rudeau, Michael Komorn, all great attorneys fighting for the movement to move cannabis forward and actually free people that have been wrongfully accused of a plant that has such magical and potential that people just haven't even had the experience to see yet. You know, I've done a lot of things in my life, but how passionate I am about this plant and this industry to help people learn what the plant can do, that's very powerful. And when you do these community events, whether you're bringing people together on an open mic night, or you're watching Planet Green Trees, or you're doing anything that could benefit the community, you know, just remember that as we educate this next generation of people are going to be able to see the benefits of that plant. Well, I think it just goes to show that, you know, people are more accepted to it. You know, I don't think people are bad. You know, even the police are just doing a job that they have to do, and when society is ready to embrace what this plant can do, and it's not reefer madness, and we're actually looking at the benefits of the plant and how we can use it and grow things, you know, you're going to give people purpose. You know, I can tell you the customers at Grow Green, they come in and they'll tell you how passionate they are about the cannabis that they grow and how amazing the results are. You know, just even if they're growing small amounts and they're growing it for their own medical use, so they don't have to buy it from a dispensary where it could be, you know, not tested properly. Fortunately, some of the laws that Dana Nessel and Gretchen are putting in place and how the enforcement is happening, I think you're really going to see some real good things coming up in the next year or so here.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's what my dad always told me. He's like, I'd rather you smoke a joint than drink a beer.
Right. I mean,
trouble.
geez, and there's so many people that are passionate about that plant and passionate about cannabis. I mean, to actually, you know, meet the people and listen to some of the cases that, you know, people that are just been wrongfully accused. You know, and the sad thing is that some people don't even have the, after the raids that they do and the forfeitures, there's some people like Daryl Berry and some of these people that they literally have taken their houses, their cars, their tractors, froze all of their assets in their bank accounts. And why would they do that? I mean, they have to do that because they think you're a cartel or a DTO, a drug trafficking operation. So you're proven guilty before you're innocent, or I'm not sure which way the law reads that, but it's almost like an effective use of them being able to seize your money so that you don't have enough money to go fight them in court. You know, without getting proper legal representation, whether you're referring to Michael Komorn or any of the other great attorneys that are out there, you know, it's a little bit easier for them now that marijuana is legalized. But back in the day, you know, Cheyenne Gupla and a lot of these other people, you know, they would basically be trying to figure out how that they can make this happen. So, you know, it's just amazing that what's going on in the industry these days. All right, we got the okay. We found out our location here, and we're moving forward. I mean, after 6 years of holding your stuff hostage, what a great thing. I think it was funny, actually, when the guy made me sign the bond to make sure that he had my money and everything so that he could make sure he got my signature, that he said, well, now we got all your money. I said, well, that's great. You basically got the only money I had to pay my house payment. That's 3 months in foreclosure. So hopefully my house I don't lose my house over the fact that you guys have taken this money that wasn't what you assumed it to be. They took all my wife's jewelry. They took all of my jewelry. And then they said that that wasn't related to the narcotics associated to the case. So they said that we'll give you that back, but the money they said was. So amazing. I'm gonna focus on making these turns, brother, just so you know.
Yeah, look at my seatbelt on, so.
Yeah. You're all right. All right. Okay.
See how pissed they get when they see me.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, they have all my stuff stored in a semi-truck supposedly somewhere here.
Oh, they just kept it in the semi-truck outside?
Yeah, well, I think that's the hot box of the case where they were drying all the cannabis. So. Yeah. All right. I really don't want you to piss off, just so you know.
Okay.
I'd rather, I kind of like be done. Yeah.
Okay, that's
if you want to.
All right.
Cool. Thank you very much. Appreciate
I
you.
appreciate it, LT.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck,
Appreciate you.
fellas.
Thank
Hopefully
you.
we never deal with you again.
I hope so.
That'd be my choice.
That'd be mine too, my brother. All right. Everything's accounted for and everything's properly returned. They did a great job storing my stuff for 6 years, so we appreciate them. And we look forward to the next chapter of moving things forward for the cannabis industry. So, moving on.